Welcome to the podcast that questions everything, from conspiracies to philosophy, from science to religion. We will be looking at the construct of the illusion, and as always, we will question everything. Hello, welcome. Rob Wallace, your host of Everything's Illusion podcast. I'm here with Colin Wood, colinwoodmedia.com. It was on a few podcasts back with regards to media, the reality versus illusion. How are you doing, Colin?
I'm good.
And this time he's in to talk about another passion of his, which is religion. Something along the lines of mine's is better than yours. And we're going to discuss various kind of ideas, concepts about religion and how it impacts people's lives. And
both positively and negatively.
Positively and negatively. So if you just want to open that up then, Colin, if you just want to open that up.
Okie doke. Rightio. So basically the kind of stance I'm coming from is I'm in no way, shape or form religious, but the whole sort of phenomenon around religion kind of fascinates me. You know, how it's used, you know, to manipulate people, how it's also used to give people hope, and you know, like and when they're going through rough times, you know, and you know how a lot of issues amongst people are caused by religion, and you know the disagreements, the different views that are associated with it.
It's good. Like I for a very long time, very big part of my life has been searching for, or my early life was searching for a religion to tick the boxes for me. I never quite found that religion, and have done a kind of modern, classical, Western approach to things, where I've borrowed from hundreds and kind of do my own thing, which is obviously frowned upon by each of the major religions and tenets. If I just go through a timeline of the world religions, and then we can kick into
our discussion.
Yeah.
Right, okay, on you go.
So, primal beliefs, shamanism, this kind of thing, throughout the world, every single culture on earth has some form of shamanic belief, some person who would have created the story which the other people were governed by, and they usually used pain, music, the drum beat, or hallucinogens to enter that sacred void. Hinduism, around about 1700 BC, maybe before Hinduism, you also had the Egyptian kind of ideas of one god, of the sun worship.
Yeah.
Buddhism around the 6th century BC. Judaism, 2000 BCE. Christianity, obviously zero. The first CE. Islam, 610 CE or AD. And then many different modern religions that came about, you know, after that, from Mormon and Moonism, and plenty of...
Where does Scientology fit in all that? Well, 1950 something that was founded, something like that.
So even earlier. So it just shows you that, I think, what that timeline shows is, from me anyway, that since we became civilised, or since we went even from a nomadic hunter-gatherer, gatherer-hunter, to domesticating crops and looking at kind of our ideas of high civilization and bigger groups of human community, we've always kind of jumped at a notion of there's something greater or bigger than ourselves, and created a unifying story to explain that. So is there something within us that requires that?
I think most people need to feel like that they were not an accident. They were here. They have a purpose. They were not here. They're not here by, you know, just some stroke of luck. By design, you know, meant to be, you know, to give their life meaning.
That's one of the things that always got me, is that whole idea that someone else has the answer. You know, that idea, like you get it a lot in the alternative spiritual kind of community, where, and like just look at a Hindu guru. You know, you go to them because they have the answer. They have the meaning of life, and they have the intricacies, and they can teach you, they can bring you up to scratch so that you will have purpose, so that you will have meaning, so that you have direction. Mm-hmm. And it's probably the best snake oil that one can sell. Like, I've thought about it very hard, and very when I was writing my book Health Made Simple, to can jump on that whole snake oil kind of bandwagon. You promise the stars. You can never prove the stars, but you just promise it, because it's down to faith. It's down to Is modern science a religion?
It's theory based. So, I mean, therefore, you know, although you can to a degree, it's more provable than religions are going past, but there is a degree of conjecture, guesswork. You know, doesn't matter how educated it is. A guess is still a guess. So
the thing that always gets me about modern science is things like, obviously we use science every day, or we use the result of science. We're using a microphone and a computer and the electricity and all these kind of things, but at the very high end, the things like E equals MC squared, you know, the math behind that,
based on the physics, really.
Very few people understand the math behind E equals MC squared. Maybe 10 people on Earth. For the rest of us, it's faith. Like the whole idea of a black hole and what's actually happening, or quantum physics. Very few people actually understand the math, that actually understand the 1 + 1 = 2 of the super intricate equations. And then when you look at things like in science, where they say one person on the left is saying the universe is expanding, and the person on the right is saying the universe is contracting, and then the third person saying what's it expanding or contracting into, if the universe is everything. And that's where a religious argument is always quite strong, when they come in and say, you know, that's God, God created, and that is omnipotent and omnipresent and beyond these concepts of what your science can grasp.
And not just that, you know, you need to take the Big Bang and a bit of faith as well, you know, because what existed before that? Okay, you had gases.
Did you?
No. Well, that's what we're assuming.
No. That's it. Is brilliant about the Big Bang. That whole idea. There was nothing,
and now there's something.
And then, you know, and that's the best thing I find about science. When you take it all the way back, that very first principle is the exact same as religion.
There's no answer.
It's there was nothing, and then the universe was created, and then we had like pressure and heat and all this mass, and it was the size of a grape, the whole universe, and rapidly in a gazillionth of a second it expanded out the way, and it's still expanding out. And it's like, well, let's go back a step. You just said at the very beginning there was nothing. At the very beginning there was nothing. No thing.
Exactly, yeah. So the question you've got to ask is, okay, assuming a God created this, then who created the God?
Yep.
And then who created the person who created the God? And then it goes on and on and on.
One thing I liked many years ago, I was quite high, smoking some marijuana at the time, and it was put to me the idea that if God was conscious, say the universe was conscious, and that was God, and that consciousness needed to experience itself, it would create unlimited, infinite variables, different experiences, each testing the limits of its ability to create, to experience itself, and we are just one of many infinite possibilities of that God or that universe creating itself to experience all the possibilities that it can create.
Yeah, something like parallel dimensions kind of thing.
But every single individual is different. Every human is different. Every plant is different. Every bacteria is different. So every single individual, everything, every atom, is for this creator, universe, God archetype to experience its uniqueness by creating infinite. And when I was high, that blew my mind, man. I was like, wow. I sat in the corner for about 3 hours just contemplating my navel, going, oh, what if? Oh.
Yeah, and I think, that's religion, because we are all so different and so unique. I think religion comes in to try and unify us. And sometimes it can be good, sometimes it can be bad. Just take anyone who's pretty much strapped a bomb to themselves, or went into a school and gunned down people. Religion is probably not the only factor, but it is certainly a factor in most of them.
I think there's definitely if you take football, religion, any of these kind of mass team cult maths, where you have signed up as a group to a particular way of thinking. So religion is a spiritual connection, is a one-on-one, or described as a one-on-one relationship with God or spirit or whatever.
Yeah.
And religion is finding a few other people with the same idea as you, and together you have that connection, and it's like a group experience of spirit or of God.
Yeah.
But any group experience, when somebody outside the group says you're wrong, I don't agree, that's different, they have a blind defence. Like if I say to a woman, your kid is fat, like even though she sees her kid and she knows her kid's fat, she automatically go and defend her kid. If I say your religion's wrong, your football team is rubbish, you automatically go, no, that's my football team.
Yeah.
And even though you know the truth, there's it's been a part of a group, of a clan, and
yeah, you'll defend that clan. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things which leads to the violent excess that is attributed to religion. We are right, you're wrong. They don't agree with us. But me personally, I think within every religion, the core, there is a lot of religious followers who are very different from the masses. Take a Christian, say 90% of Christians are kind of wishy-washy, and then there's 10% that are book readers, and they try to live their life as best they can in a Christian fashion, and they're out doing charitable things and that lifestyle. In the same way Muslims and Buddhists and
pretty much
every walk of life, and I think they folk are to be commended. But again, it's an interesting thing as well, because the other side of the hardcore element is the fanatics, and the fanatics are sometimes, this is literally the word of God, and I will strap a bomb to my back and prove it. I will have 100 women in heaven, hell, nirvana, whatever the promised good is.
Now, Buddhism's quite an interesting one to me, because it's it's one of the few religions that doesn't basically worship a deity as such, a god or anything like that. It's more practical in the sense of dumbing it down completely. It's basically, don't be a dick. That's what the Buddhist belief is. Be nice, help your fellow man. There's a lot of meditation, contemplation, and to be honest, it's there's a lot of stuff. I like the idea of meditation, yoga, also the idea of reincarnation. Is very big in Buddhist culture. I think reincarnation is a really nice thought. The fact that you get another go around, and whether you've been good or bad in this life kind of determines, where you fit in the sort of chain in the next. But it is a good idea. I'm not sure I believe in it because I'm very much big on I believe what I see, But
there has been a couple of good documentaries where they have children with very noticeable birthmarks on a lot of occasions, and they have strange memories of things that shouldn't be. The one that jumps into my mind was a young lad, and he had memories of a Japanese World War II fighter plane.
Yeah.
And he knew family members, he knew bits of Japanese language, and I think it was American or something. And the documentary followed him as they raised the funds to go to Japan, and he met the survivors of the family that he believed he was a pilot, a Japanese pilot, in his previous life, and he took them on a boat to the island area where the plane actually went down, and when they done the searching, it was actually there, and he had this kind of really strange connection, like at the other side of the world, and described them, things like that. Then there's quite a few stories like that.
Yeah.
That have always kind of intrigued me, I don't want to dismiss it straight away, because everything is an illusion podcast, and the whole idea is question everything, ask your questions, don't dismiss, be a skeptic, i.e. ask questions, think. So reincarnation, I'm not too sure. I suppose the only way you can ever be sure is when you die. But again, that's the ultimate weapon, if you like, that most religions have.
Yeah.
They promise various things happen after death, but you need to die first to actually see if you're going to heaven, if you're getting a harem, if you're being reincarnated, if you're turning into a space faring creature and travelling across the known universe.
Yeah. But that's it's actually it's fantastic marketing when you think about it. It's like
you'll get it.
You'll get it. You just need to die first. Yeah, and it's like the thing is, what if you die and that's it? It could be.
I think going back on Buddhism, I'm just going to read 4-step. For the principles of Buddhism. I'll do it for Christianity and Islam as well. It's just from a book I've got on religious ideas. So it's: however many material comforts I bring into my life, they cannot protect me from the pain and suffering. The total denial of material comforts and a life of asceticism does not protect me from suffering either. Each person needs to find a balanced, moderate, disciplined lifestyle that takes account of their individual circumstances. Find the middle way. So you're not geeing up everything. You're being conscious of your mind, conscious of.
Yep.
But Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, is mixed with Bon. And Bon is a form of shamanism, and they have gods.
Right.
So Tibetan Buddhism, they have the gods. Also, there's forms of Buddhism. I think it's I need to Google it, but it's the northeast of Burma or something like this, where the Buddhists are actually killing Muslims. So they're quite extreme. So it totally goes against the whole idea of what Western people think Buddhism is. But they're still Buddhists and they're killing people. And then the other side of that is every society needs a worker, and Buddhism comes from India and Hinduism has a caste system, and the very lowest of the low are sometimes not it's not talked about a lot, but they are sometimes excluded from Buddhism, because you still need road sweepers and people to do the dirty jobs. you know. So I think even within the religions that, like, I think with Buddhism there's a great marketing campaign.
Yeah.
There is just hugging, but it's like any religion. There's some serious bodies of books and different ideologies and different paths and factions and
interesting
perceptions of how it is that you get yourself off the wheel. And in Buddhism they have the Maya. Maya is illusion.
Yeah.
Everything's an illusion, and you try to stop the wheel. So the idea of you live and you die, you live and you die, you live and you die, and then when you've done that so many times, you've got so much awareness in life that you perceive the wheel of life, and by perceiving it you can make steps to stop the wheel, to see the illusion for what it is and reach enlightenment. But when you reach enlightenment, you then choose to continue to go back in the wheel until everyone else reaches enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's another trap of like, you might be enlightened, but you've got to keep on going. I mean, after death, you're going to heaven, you're going to hell. After death, you're coming back. So keep it going. Give us your money.
Well, yeah, that's another thing is, why does God need money?
Well,
it's not actually God, it's the church. The church is an organisation, you know, and it doesn't matter what religion it falls under, you know. People got to get paid. People
have to get paid, and when I was younger, I stayed in London for many years, and my church in London was Speaker's Corner. And Speaker's Corner is one of these places, it's a rare place, it's in Marble Arch corner of Hyde Park, where you can go and you can just throw down your jumper and speak about anything. And there was a guy there who used to shout, "Beat your meat, beat your meat, beat your meat," and he claimed to be the president of the Masturbation Society. And at the other side of the park,
that's a thing?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
There was a guy at the other side of the park who claimed to be an incarnation of Buddha. There was another guy who claimed to be Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
There was a guy who was a Mooney, like Mooneyism. There was a Jewish Christian. Loads of different religious factions, political factions, people who were comedians, because the best hecklers were there. It was a great platform to learn your craft.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things, just say for religious folk, you would get a huge gulf in people's religious ideas towards money. At one side, you'd have a guy that had basically no socks or shoes on.
Yeah.
He'd given up everything, and he was, you know, preaching the word of whoever and being true to whatever he believed in. And at the other side, there was a preacher guy that had a really fancy Italian like suit, you know. He'd rocked up in a Bentley and had the cash, you know. But they were both claiming to have the same answer, the same to be religious. And I think the whole money thing for me has always been that classic way. Like, I don't know much about the Bible, but I remember stories of, you know, Jesus going in and turning the tables on the money lenders, you know? And the kind of way that banks and finance and all that operates in today's world, that's totally against like a Christian core value about what money is, and
true,
how they loan money and how they use money. So, like, in America, they have these super churches that like the size of our football stadiums.
So basically, the Walmart of churches.
Yes.
Yeah. And
they have like folk like us who are media professionals. We love to work for these churches because they have like full TV studios. You know, awesome. Like the whole Boona. You know, 5 camera, fully automated TV studios, and the preacher goes up and he's wearing really top clobber. And it's theatrical, and if you've got Sky or Virgin or any of this, you can check out the God channels. There's hundreds of them, and they're evangelical, and you're thinking, there was one Sorry, I'm ranting here, but there was one that I watched, and it was an article about I don't know the technical term, father, priests, preacher, evangelical leader, holy man. He was taking over this particular super church, if you like, and he went in with his beard and unkempt and just sat amongst the crowd and enjoyed the sermon and clapped and enjoyed his the sermon, the service. But he found that a lot of people weren't too Christian in their behaviours towards him, because he hadn't washed on purpose. He hadn't cut his nails on purpose. He was in kind of scabby clothes, big unkempt beard, and he found that the amount of Christians in the room was lacking. And then when they presented on stage the new, head of the congregation and invited him up, a lot of people were shocked when this, smelly, unkempt, bearded, homeless-looking guy got up. And I worked out that he was actually and then he went up into the first part of his speeches about the fact that, being a Christian is not about coming here in your big fancy car and throw money in the thing and telling your friends you're a Christian. Christianity or any religion is about worship. It's about participating. It's about trying to live by the things that you supposedly are.
Yeah. Need a breather after that. It's quite interesting. That these things are supposed to be religions are supposed to be a uniting force, but again, on the other hand, they're actually quite divisive. That they're trying to, if you don't believe in my God, then fuck you, I'm gonna, crash a plane into your buildings,
But that's if you believe that that's what happened at 9/11.
Well, that's another thing.
But that's a bit questioning. But it's a very valid point. There has been a lot of religions, but I think a lot of times that's not actually religion. That's political, or the ruling class of that time using the religion as a weapon to circumnavigate and uproot another religion or another belief system. Because most people say, like the guy who went up with a beard and he was unkempt and stuff, I'm guessing he's not the kind of guy that would have been saying kill those folk. He's the kind of guy that would have been let them do what they do. They'll come to Christ in time. We need to show them love and educate them. And if that doesn't work, well, whatever. But it's the folk that he was addressing in his sermon who would have been like, let's kill. Let's blow up these Iranians with their nuclear bombs. That's what's happening just now. If you've been watching the presidential election debates in the US.
I've not. I imagine it'd be very entertaining.
It's very, if you like, right-wing Christian religious. Basically, let's go to the Middle East and continue to kill. To get our votes. That side of religion I'm no keen on.
No, me neither. And the whole issue between the US and the Middle East is, you've got to wonder, who's the good guys in all this. And the truth is, there isn't any good guys.
But that's the interesting thing there is all the Judaism, Islam and Christianity, they all come out of that hot pot of the Crescent Valley and Middle East. Kind of that small part of the world created these major monotheistic religion. Catholicism, Protestantism, Judaism, Islam, Jew. And it's kind of spreading, and it's quite funny that place is very much a hotbed for hatred and fear and
violence
and killing each other.
It's strange. It is very strange. And I think it's more. I think pinning all the problems on religion is somewhat misguided. It is more like factionism, which it doesn't really matter what they believe in, but just because you don't like a certain group of people, that's the reason. It's not to do with their beliefs as such. It's just, it's just so far ingrained in your consciousness that these are the bad guys. We don't like these people. Let's attack them. And it's simple with the perfect example. Just taking it back to home is probably Rangers and Celtic.
Oh no!
You speak to like you speak to your typical knuckle dragging Rangers or Celtic supporter, and it's not about Catholicism and Protestants. It's what it's about. It's basically about they beat us now and again at football. We don't like them. They're the enemy.
I think there is definitely a part, and I think that's. Again, it's talked about earlier, that whole idea of your group, your circle. That's the story that you have subscribed to.
Yeah.
And I've talked about it previously in another podcast, but the whole idea of the book Sabian, where the guy says we come out the grass, and we get our ability to create stories, and they're the things which allowed us to grow beyond groups of 50, because then people can identify
with the stories. Yeah.
With the story, you didn't need an alpha male that could control a group up to 50. You could progress beyond that. And if I go, say I'm a Catholic, and I go to South America for the first time, I will meet somebody that can identify with my story. And therefore we will go on and we can talk about something, and I will be welcomed. And the Rangers Celtic thing, obviously it's very ingrained here, but it's just that idea of identifying and finding comfort and identity, because I suppose that's the thing that we all crave. That's one of the things that I've always craved, is that identity. You're looking for the answer. Unfortunately for me, I've not found
the answer
yet, but I'm willing to open-mindedly ask the questions, read bits of the Bible, speak to Christians, speak to Muslims, speak to Buddhists, speak to Hindus, speak to New Age kind of scientists, speak to and try and confirm or not confirm the things which kind of fit in with my worldview. I definitely think that, like Christianity, religion, if you look at that time frame, we needed these stories to organise our culture, to organise our laws, to organise our. But as we get modern, new religions appear, like Scientology, that relying upon the modern story of let's mix.
Yeah, let's mix a bit of sci-fi in it. I know a little bit about Scientology because I've read a few books on the subject, and I've basically to basically get cut to the chase. It's this sci-fi writer L. Ron Hubbard,
who was a legit sci-fi writer.
Yes,
am I right in saying that?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was a sci-fi writer. He wrote Battlefield Earth, which was made into a great movie with John Travolta. And he's Klingon dreadlocks.
Yeah, that was bad.
I remember every shot was at some sort of weird angle.
But that's the thing, from a lover of sci-fi, and especially bad sci-fi, that was horrendous.
Yeah. Anyway, can't really blame L. Ron Hubbard for how the movie turned out.
He was dead.
Yeah, but anyway, back to L. Ron Hubbard. Basically, I mean, he obviously contemplated religion a little bit, and then he probably, he was looking at the church and going, God, they're rolling in it. I need some of that action. So he went and started his own religion. It started basically as something called Dianetics, which is more to do with sort of therapy, or his version of therapy, psychotherapy, which he kind of called auditing. and then it kind of
I have been audited.
yeah. How was it? Did you get clear?
They cleared my mind.
Did they clear your wallet at the same time?
No, it was one of the. You're walking past the temple or the offices, or I don't know how they describe their place of place of sacredness.
I'd imagine it'd be just a church.
So I was walking past, and they said, would you like to come in for a free audit? And then I said, what is that? They explain it. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm keen, I'm curious. It just looked like an ohms meter.
Yeah.
And they asked a few questions, and the wee dial went left to right, and things, and the person noted things down and ticked boxes, and then gave me a sort of half mumbo jumbo, half kind of a layman's term explanation, obviously leading to promises of me being able to basically the classic fulfill myself and these kind of things, probably leading to a sales pitch. But by that time I was, hey, I need to go home, thank you very much, it was a pleasure. And it was interesting, they weren't too pushy, it was just
so there was no mention of Xenu at that point.
There was, but that's a very interesting point about Scientology, is the whole idea of if I want to look into Christianity or Islam or Buddhism or any of these various Lao Tzu, Taoism, Confucianism, I can go and buy a book, Amazon, Waterstones, W.H. Smith's, eBay, buy it, read it, say I agree, I disagree. Boom. Scientology, you cannot go and buy their books.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Well, you can download it torrents, or it is torrent.
You can, but it's also as well that the books don't disclose everything. It's a case of you've got your different levels.
Depending on how big your wallet is.
Exactly, yeah. For example, if you're Tom Cruise, you're on the top level. You know about Xenu and your jumping couches and whatever.
So some of the magical powers, that was one of the things that there is a website many years ago. I read a fair bit about Scientology, and it was a website that was all about exposing Scientology, and the guy had published everything that he had purchased.
Yeah.
And you can read through some of the stuff, but one of the secret powers was the ability to move the bowler hat, a bowler hat off another human at a distance of 100 metres or so, but you couldn't use the power because the aliens or the whatever they're called would know that you were on the Earth.
Okay, is this limited to bowler hats, or is it what about Stetsons?
I think the reference was a bowler hat. It could be a black hat, a black cat that was sitting on your hat, on your head. I don't know if it was just a I think they were just emphasising the fact that by being a part of the team, you now had a superpower, but you can't use it because,
of course, that's very convenient.
Yeah.
I just find it's a very, very interesting sort of phenomenon, and the fact that the founder was ended up on the run for the last few years of his life. Basically. Ended up dying in kind of seclusion. The fact that there's still people believing in such a belief created by someone who, at the end of the day, ended up being so disreputable. It's kind of strange.
But I think they have from the documentaries and the stuff that I have read, they're very different from other religions in terms of Christianity, Islam, etc., etc. Like they use techniques like a sauna and oil.
Right.
Yeah, these ones where they went in the sauna and they were forced to drink a litre of oil, and it would make them dehydrated and delirious, and then they would use various audio tapes to get people in particular kind of states. So there was a whole kind of mind kind of shaping and kind of aspect of it, and then the other side is they have the largest the equivalent to the CIA or MI5, MI6.
They
have a big large kind of secret police intelligence organisation based at the church.
Yeah.
It's like the Catholic Church.
And that's the thing. There's that link, that kind of links with organised crime. This group. There's been numerous reports of them using intimidation tactics, and
if you try to leave, they rock up outside your house.
Exactly.
And, the big Humvee and the.
Yeah, it's and there's even been sort of non-confirmed murders linked with Scientology. It's quite interesting. The thing is, I think part of that sort of that cult religion success is to do with the celebrity affiliation. And to be honest with you, it's the religion is it's basically it's tailor-made for people who, let's face it, celebrities tend to be quite narcissistic, self-involved, and think themselves to be higher up
chosen
than the rest of us. This religion,
it's perfect.
But it's perfect, because you believe, if you're a Scientologist, you're better than everyone else. You have these superpowers. Your
wallet shows it.
Yeah, of course, that's the thing. The actual, the amount you pay towards the sort of Church of Scientology to someone like Tom Cruise or George Travolta is like a drop in the ocean. But normal people who
last year it was in Cheers,
Kirstie Alley. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, like normal people, working, maybe a $50,000 a year job, they could potentially be financially ruined by the amount the church takes off them.
They're giving like 40,000 of that 50,000 to the church.
Yeah, it's a very elaborate pyramid scheme, is the way I see it. I don't really think there's any truth in the sort of writing.
See, and that's where things like I would define and draw a line between that and Christianity, Islam, Sikhism, Hinduism, Taoism. Them to me is you need your book and food and water, and you can practice and participate in your religion anywhere, anytime.
You don't need to go to church.
You don't need to go to church.
It doesn't need to be organised. You just need to have faith.
Whereas Scientology is very much very controlled, and a lot of the more modern adaptations of modern day religion are very much entrepreneurial and
capitalistic,
in nature. They're very much like one of my favourite religious kind of ideologies is Taoism, made famous by Lao Tzu, and the yin and yang symbol that a lot of people have seen this from China. And Taoism, lions eat gazelles. That's nature. It's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just that's what happens. Lions eat gazelles. It's for its dinner. And everybody's probably heard of Shaolin Kung Fu.
Yeah.
And the other side of Shaolin Kung Fu, Shaolin was Buddhist. You get Wudang. Wudang was Taoist. And being a big fan of Kung Fu movies and that, you always came across these kind of Wudang monks, and they had kind of amazing sword and really powerful Qigong. They do a lot of the energy kind of stuff that fascinates me. And when you read about Taoism, it's amazing because it's so confusing. It's like if you claim to know about Taoism, you don't know.
Yeah,
it's it's all like philosophy kind of. But the thing that gets me about that is I believe, and it's all belief. Don't believe anything, but I believe. Your big JC, your big Muhammad, your big Buddha, your big Lao Tzu, Confucius, all these different people who then went on to write down their stuff, or people wrote down their stuff, and then a world religion was created from their experience. They all touched the void, God, oneness, nirvana, heaven, whatever terminology you ever want to use. But then their experience translated out into the written word, can never be. It's like if I play piano for 20 years and then I try to explain to you what it is that I experience when I play piano, I could never tell you that in words. I would need to show you how to play piano, and then after you've can fine-tuned it after 20 years, you maybe start to comprehend what it is I was experiencing when I was playing the piano. And when people think that it can fast track to get that spiritual experience that JC had or Buddha had, or by reading a book or by not doing anything, I don't believe that's possible. I believe it's I hope at the end of the day, I'm on a crusade as well. I think it's worship. Anything in life is worship. You don't get good at using a camera by reading a manual. You get good at camera by getting out and taking pictures, failing, taking better pictures, failing, taking better pictures, failing, and then 10 years later you're like, I'm looking at this landscape, I'm thinking these are the settings, because I understand the theory and the technique, but I also have the experience to conceptualise the techniques, and hence I've got a good picture.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, a bit. What was the point I was going to make?
I don't know, I just keep on taking over.
I know. Well, you're much more well read than I am, especially in this sort of area. I don't know, I just think, you've talked about your beliefs. My belief, I don't know. I don't think it matters. That's my belief. I don't think it really matters how we got here. What religion to practice. I'm just gonna. I think I have established my own sort of belief structure. Just through living, making mistakes. And learning rights and wrongs. That I can apply to my life, that will keep me hopefully a good solid person. It doesn't necessarily, I don't think you need to find the truth in religion, but I understand why some people might need it, especially with the thought of the whole how did we get here thing. It's quite scary if you don't know why you're here and why existence is a thing.
Well, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what the purpose of life is. What the purpose of my life is. What all these kind of things. But I generally think in modern day society, you might agree or disagree, but most people are born, they're educated, and that education is a set of blinkers. It determines how you think, whatever, how your parents educated, how's your culture educated, how your religion or your politics educated, your class educated, your school, your language, your culture, all these things. And then for a period of say 40 to 50 years you're expected to work, and then you're expected to sit down and die for the last 10-20 years of your life. But when you sit down to die for the last 10-20 years, most people then ask some questions about what was my hindsight. They ask, what was my life about? What is the purpose of life? And they start to go to church, or they start to ask questions about life and death, and get curious about spiritual kind of paths and religions and stuff. The other side of that is if you come from a very religious culture or religious background, and you enter religion at an early age, and therefore you are a Christian, a Muslim, a Hindu, whatever.
You're basically indoctrinated from an early age.
So, like that side, I think it's good to ask. I have been to so many different churches, and like all the different kind of Christian kind of faiths, Catholic, spiritual kind of spiritualist church, Gnostic Christians. I've been to the Islamic, Hindu temple, the mosque, the Sikh temple. I thought the Sikh temple was great. The boys fed me. Again,
Can't knock a free meal.
that's a big thumbs up in my books. You know, they fed me. Various kind of Hindu spiritual kind of places, Tibetan, Buddhist. You know, in Scotland, near the borders, there's the biggest Tibetan Buddhist temple outside of basically Tibetan India. And
Right.
it's actually in Scotland, in the borders. It's huge. It's called Sami Ling.
Right.
And they have, off the west coast of Scotland, they own an island just off the Isle of Arran called the Holy Isle,
Right.
which was a traditionally Christian and Celtic holy island, holy place. And they've purchased it, and that's where they have their 3-year, 3-month, 3-week retreats where people go and sit in a cubicle. They pay 10 grand for their pleasure, and they don't talk to anybody for 3 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, and they just meditate and contemplate their navel, and then at the end of it come out
Supposedly enlightened.
But how, me personally, like, I think, how amazing or how different would your mindset be if you just got to know yourself for 3 years? You know, like, you would, all your fears would melt away, because what you got to fear, you know yourself. Your kind of things like greed and hatred and
Yeah.
all these things are all internal things which are projected out the way. But if you knew everything about yourself and were so secure and so knowing of your physical body, of your mind, again, and you see these Tibetan Buddhist guys, they're just
They're
all
laid-
big smiles
Laid
and
back as fuck.
aye.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I get that. I think a lot of people who kind of use religion as a crutch they're wrapped in insecurity. Though, you know.
I think within any religious organisation you're going to get every extreme, from insecurities to people are very content with life, and it gives them that stability and that to be a better person, to go out and engage with their community. And you get the other kind of side. I think it's too big a spectrum to kind of generalise what the
what everyone's like. No, that's true.
But I just love it. I love the idea that there is a God or there's not a God. Just that concept, because it's like sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's like, as you know, and probably the folk in podcast land know, I'm a big fan of like Star Trek, Star Wars, you know, sci-fi, you know. And if you go back, say, 1,000 years or 2,000 years or 3,000 years, when some of these major religions came about, there was no light, there was no lampposts, there was no city light. The stars were abundant in the sky, and you seen the void of space every day, every night, and surely that would open up your curious mind to say, what is that?
Yeah.
What are the things up there in the sky? You know, the colours and that have a pattern, that have a cycle, but they're always there, but we can never get there.
Yeah.
Did God create it?
Alright, well. Yeah. Have you seen the documentary Zeitgeist?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out for anyone who's sort of listening and curious. Kind of the first roughly hour kind of goes about how, basically explains how almost religion is kind of derived from basically worshipping in the sun. You know, usually they associate God with the sun. That's, you know, and it kind of makes sense in the sense of that the sun is the giver of life on this planet.
Yeah, it breathes. It's the sun's energy. It is the battery for this planet. Its energy is the thing that feeds everything. And if you just look at like plants, you know, it's the sun.
Yeah.
Snakes.
Yeah. So I mean, what if, you know, all these religions they have basically their character, for example, you know, whether it be, you know, God, Allah, or whatever, it could be just, you know, a character representation of the sun.
Or it could be so just say that an ant has consciousness and we have consciousness, but we very rarely would interact with an ant's consciousness because we would perceive maybe that ours is more developed, you know. Well, just say planets have been here for a lot longer than us, and there's a lot of them in our galaxy, never mind our universe. And just say that they have a consciousness. So the sort of mass consciousness, or the most advanced consciousness in our solar system is our sun, and through various spiritual awakenings or realizations, you have a brief connection with the consciousness of the sun, and it opens up your mind, and it expands your energy, and you get a halo. All the pictures of the halo, it's like there's a sun underneath. It's as if they've tapped into the energy of the Son of God. The sun is such a iconic word in every religion, every culture. And it could just be that enlightenment is connecting with the sun's consciousness, which is there's so many people who, like, if you go to like spiritualist church, they believe that they're channeling the dead, you know. And I've got a book through there, and it's it's called the Gnostic Bible, and it's the 30 years of Jesus Christ. You know, he was young, and then he was about 30, and so where did he go? So these folk have channeled Jesus, like spoke to the dead Jesus, brought him through a medium, and scribed his journey to India, to Tibet, and this is what it says in this book.
But what do you think he did when you wrote 30? Do you think he just hung out?
Well, in my own personal life experience, is we were about 30. So basically, I think he learned the skills that he needed to become that leader. He gained the experience that he would have needed to tell the stories and create the. They could have just been Derren Brown. All these religious kind of mega leaders could be just like a Derren Brown of their day. Very powerful, great charisma, great mind, but at the same time, folk like Derren Brown would have probably been 10 a penny, because you never had computers to store the plans and do the drawings and stuff. And that's what a master mason was originally. That's why they could cross the borders, because they could create the plans of the entire chapel or church in their mind, like a 3D map, and that block goes on top of that block, goes on top of that block, that does this. They mapped all it in their mind, and they had fantastic memories. The Irish poet structure took 20 years to become a poet. It was the same. It was a mind technique, a mind. And now we have like Tibetan Buddhists that lock away for 3 years. I think in today's modern society, we don't use our minds the way our ancestors used their minds.
True.
Because we have computers to do.
Well, that's the thing. We've kind of evolved. Basically, the whole process of evolution has been us trying to make lives easier for ourselves, and in doing so, you effectively, we've got kind of reached this kind of plateau where now we're using our minds less.
We've externalised the heavy loading. But in some cases, it could be argued that allows us to do the kind of the thinking. You know what I mean? Because we don't have to build the foundation and the walls every time. We can just concentrate on the roof and the chimney smoke. You know, if that makes any sense at all. So I think again, that's it's coming up to about an hour. I think in no conclusion, but in conclusion, the kind of idea of religion, for me, you can sum up and talk about your thing, but for me, I think, is to embrace people with religion, communicate with folk, listen to folk, hear what people have got to say, and be curious, be curious about God and these concepts and stuff. And like automatically, where I grew up on the west coast of Scotland, I think a lot of people and modern folk in the science, technological, would just dismiss things of the kind of spiritual, religious nature straight away. I think it's good to read some things before you dismiss things, to communicate and be open. That's I think religions are fascinating. If 7.7 billion people, 6 billion people on Earth are religious, probably more than that, claim to have some form of religion. Again, that's the Earth we live on, you know. Got to be curious.
Yeah.
For yourself.
I think the main thing I want to get across about, you're right about being open-minded and willing to learn about other people's beliefs rather than judge. And I think people are, us as a whole, are guilty of judging what is different, what they don't understand, and dismissing it, and sometimes hating it. And I think that is kind of where the root of the problem with religion and terrorist attacks, violence and things like that. I think that's where it is I think people need to change, not necessarily religion. People need to change. They need to kind of just be generally more tolerant, listen more, and not judge. I'm not going to put it as eloquently as you, but at the end of the day, it's.
I don't think I put anything eloquently.
Yeah, okay, wordy then. At the end of the day, to sum it up, it's okay to kind of talk about it, but I see religions like arseholes. Everyone's got one, but no one wants it shoved, someone else's arsehole shoved in their face.
Yeah.
So, by all means, talk about it, but don't preach. Don't shove it in my face. Don't shove it in anyone else's face. But be willing to kind of answer people's questions who are curious about it. So what is your arsehole like?
When you were summing up there, one of the best kind of quotes from one of the most important films of all time, Bill and Ted, and be excellent.
Be excellent to each other.
Yeah, I think that should be a core tenet of a new...
From George Carlin, another guy who had a lot to say about religion.
Yeah, be excellent to... Again, I think it's a fantastic kind of thing to finish on, just be excellent. So I was Rob Wallace, host for Everything's Illusion podcast. Again, we had Collingwood Media. Thank you very much, Colin Wood of Collingwood Media. Check out Colin's stuff online, and excellent. Thanks very much. Look forward to the next podcast. And if you've got any comments on anything related to this podcast, please feel free to our Facebook on the page and can write your stuff. We like to interact and communicate, so give us your thoughts, your ideas.
Maybe potential subjects to discuss in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks very much, and catch you later.
Cheers.
Everything is an Illusion is brought to you by RobWallaceMedia.com, award-winning media. TheEnergeticMind.com, inspirational, motivational and thought-provoking art. And Health Made Simple. Buy today, change your life forever. healthmadesimple.info. Thank you, and remember, question everything.